The Chicago Bulls are off to a 1-2 start, and they got a matchup versus the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. So on today's topic, we're going to talk about, will Ayo Dosunmu get past his struggles? And then we dive into tonight's game versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Y'all know we're going to talk about all that plus a little bit more, but you already know. You got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. For my people that's joining me for the first time, welcome in. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. For my certified members, we're going to flex on them, and welcome back to the channel. But hey, the Chicago Bulls, man, through 3 games, it's been up and down feeling around Bulls Nation regarding our team. We seen 2 games to where the Bulls look absolutely lost. The turnovers have been kicked up, and we seen a good game to where the Chicago Bulls look like they can compete with just about anybody in the NBA. But now we sit here at 1-2, and one of the things that I've been noticing is that Ayo Dosunmu has not gotten off to a great start to this season. That is okay. But will Ayo Dosunmu get past his struggles? In 3 games, my man is averaging 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Cool with the rebounds and assists. But if the Chicago Bulls want to be the team that I believe that they can be, which is a better, a team full of youth, a team that is full of guys that are experienced in this league, they need to absolutely be better. And it comes with Ayo Dosunmu being mentioned along with the other guys. My man's Ayo Dosunmu is shooting 1 for 16 from the 3. That is not good enough, my guy. He's shooting 24% from the field as well. So not a great start to his season. Yes, it is just the start of the season. So we're not going to sit here and overreact and act as if Ayo Dosunmu can't snap out of this 3-game slump and be the Ayo Dosunmu that we need and more. You know what I'm saying? So I would say for Ayo Dosunmu's sake, just come out here and don't get frustrated, bro. You know what you absolutely have to do to get going within these NBA games. I will encourage Ayo Dosunmu to lean on some of his strengths. That's attacking the basket. That's getting things going in transition right off the glass, and we gone. You know what I'm saying? I understand that the 3-point shot was something that we seen Ayo improve in and utilize to a great extent last season, but right now we're gonna need that 3-point shooting, but we also need what makes Ayo Dosunmu we're gonna need what makes Ayo Dosunmu great to be reflective on the basketball court. And one of those things that I have not necessarily seen is him finishing at the basket. And I think that's what he needs to lean on. And on the defensive side, I think Ayo Dosunmu has been performing well. I say that it's a tall task just to kind of what the expectations are right now, trying to fill the shoes, you know what I'm saying, quotation marks around that, but trying to fill the shoes of a Alex Caruso. We know we already been making the correlation, especially me. I've been talking about, is Ayo Dosunmu now going to be that vocal leader that the Chicago Bulls need? I've talked about that. I talked about his potential to be a 6-man of the year candidate. It's off to a rocky start, but he still has some time to get there. So I would encourage him to not get frustrated, to lean on some of his strengths, and then you allow the game to come to you. And if those call for those, that if the flow of the game calls for you to hit the 3-point shot, let's go ahead and take it. Let's get it going before we just running up the court in transition and you just pulling up for the 3. Let's try to create for others. Let's try to get yourself comfortable, attack the basket, see a couple baskets go in for you, and then you can go ahead and start moving yourself out to that 3-point line. I would say if you come out in tonight's game versus the Memphis Grizzlies, if it's not falling down early for you after the first 2 or 3 attempts, let's start attacking the basket a little bit more. Let's get it. Let's call some fouls. You know what I'm saying, from the Memphis Grizzlies to where you end up at the free throw line and you could probably see some easy ones go down, and then you start to build that confidence back up within yourself. I know Ayo Dosunmu is confident, but I think that right now the confidence needs to be a little bit more better for him to hit the shot. We're seeing a lot of Chicago Bulls players airball, and that's Ayo Dosunmu included. And shots that are just too short or whatnot. I'm not gonna blame it on the pace. I'm gonna just say that these guys are young and they have to get it done. And the same thing goes for Ayo Dosunmu as well. It is just the start of the season, so we're not gonna sit here and overreact to it. But my mans need to get past these struggles, especially continuing on when you talk about the Chicago Bulls schedule. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be some things that right now, when it comes to Ayo Dosunmu, he's not the end all be all to the Chicago Bulls struggle on offense when it comes to their turnovers, but he is one of those guys that you're gonna need for him to be a lot better for you to win basketball games. Because in the next tonight, after tonight, you have the Magic coming up, then Brooklyn, then Utah, and Dallas and Minnesota again. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta go ahead and start getting yourself going. And I'm pretty sure I'll give Ayo Dosunmu tonight. I think he does a lot better than what we've been seeing out of him these last 3 games. I understand he knows what is required of him, and I'm expecting to see some good things out of Ayo Dosunmu tonight. Now, to add on to that, I want to also add on and talk about the Bulls coaching staff. The Bulls coaching staff, they have to be better. The Bulls coaching staff have to not be afraid to mix things up. You know what I'm saying? If we look back at the Milwaukee game, the game started to change when the Bulls coaching staff, to their credit, inserted Dalen Terry. And when Dalen Terry came in the game, his defensive presence was felt. Those first few possessions that Dalen Terry was guarding Damian Lillard got his. But then the activity from Dalen Terry started to change things a little bit for the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that Dalen Terry, or I'm sitting here calling that you absolutely play a Dalen Terry. But what I'm saying is that if a matchup is not going your way throughout the early parts of the game, be willing to mix it up a little bit. Hell, if you get to that third quarter and the going is still not right, be willing to mix it up a little bit. Give guys other opportunities, because you've seen that the Chicago Bulls couldn't buy a bucket. I'm not saying you got to go ahead and absolutely root for Chris Duarte to come in and shoot threes. But if the guys that are currently shooting threes on the squad ain't knocking the threes down, explore your options to see if the shooter ability of a Chris Duarte could potentially help you. That's all I'm saying. Be willing to do things that are unusual. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the bad unusual. I'm not talking about when Zach LaVine is starting to get hot, you yank him. That's a bad unusual. I'm talking about a good unusual. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Lonzo Ball is not pretty much having a good stint right now in the second quarter. Let's go ahead and take them out. Let's pull them early. Let's see if we can, capitalize on some of those minutes in the later part of the game. And then in this part of the game, in this second quarter, let's grab a Dalen Terry. Let's insert a Julian Phillips. Let's see if one of them, let's explore our options. And then you still utilize those guys that you believe just need a little bit more time to sit down. You know what I mean? So I think the coaching staff, they have to do better. And I think there should be an emphasis placed on taking care of the damn basketball. Excuse me. Yes, it's good that the Chicago Bulls are playing with a great pace, but what good is the pace if you're not taking care of the basketball, because you're shooting yourself in the foot when you go down there and do boneheaded things? That should be emphasis placed on your team, and that starts with Zach LaVine. You're not a young player, my boy. Get your shit together. Take care of the basketball. You're hurting the team. And that goes not only for Zach LaVine, but the other guys as well, who's going to be handling the ball. And it goes back to the coaches, because if you know that Zach LaVine is not that great when it comes to late game situations and handling the ball, why is there not a conversation of, hey, when we take it out, give it to my guy, who's the young guy I brought here to hopefully take us through and move on for the foreseeable future in Josh Giddey? That's the reason you get Josh Giddey. You know what I'm saying? And then if we go back to an earlier point, if you was able to maximize Lonzo Ball minutes, maybe later in the game in the fourth quarter, now you can have 2 ball handlers that you trust on the basketball court to close out a game. Potentially. We know he's not playing back-to-backs, but you got to find yourself some options, even if that comes to exploring a Kobe White option or Ayo Dosunmu option, simply because Billy Donovan and his coaching staff ended one of these last few games with 4 guards. So get the ball in the hands to where, and guys to where you can trust them. That's all I'm pretty much saying. So don't be afraid. And then before we get up out of here, we got to talk about tonight's game versus the Memphis Grizzlies. So let me know y'all thoughts on that. But now transitioning on to tonight's game, the Memphis Grizzlies come in and we're facing them, and they come in with a 2-1 record. The Chicago Bulls are 1-2. The Memphis Grizzlies, these are a team that's going to get up and down the court, and they're going to get points on the board. In all of their 3 games, they have not scored nothing under the 124 points. So the Chicago Bulls are going to have to try to keep pace with these guys, and they're going to have to show effort when it comes to defending. I would say that they did a decent job for the most part last game until it got out of hand, but against the Milwaukee Bucks, we've seen what they were capable of. Not a great defense, maybe not even a good defense, but somewhere along the lines of being a competent and respectable defense if they simply lock in. So you got to have your shoes ready. Ja Morant is back. Hey, and ladies and gentlemen, we get to see Zach Edey on the court. How interesting is that going to be? It's going to be very, very interesting. But if the Chicago Bulls want to do anything, they're going to have to show that they have the ability to bounce back after a bad home opener. The disrespect to the Chicago Bulls fans that they've shown. How do you bounce back from that? Show some damn effort and put the ball in the basket and defend. And you live with the results. Just don't let it get out of hand like the OKC game. Let me know who y'all got for tonight's game. I'm not too confident. As you can see, I'm feeling meh today because of the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bulls, they might just be in store for pissing me off a little bit more. But I'm going to wait until the game get here and we shall see. But that is it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave all your thoughts and your comments down in the comment box below. If you want to be a part of our mailbag episode, go ahead. Call in, state your name, leave your take on the Chicago Bulls. The number to do so is 773-242-9219. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.